Question 1. Why does Adam Smith believe that markets are a technology for harmonizing individual self-interests for the benefit of all? How does this relate to his concept of the invisible hand? And what should markets ideally accomplish for Smith? The answer to question 1 is Adam Smith argues that markets function as a mechanism to align individual self-interests with the collective good. When people pursue their own goals, such as seeking profit, security, or better living standards, they unintentionally contribute to the welfare of the society. This occurs because market exchange is structured around mutual benefit. Both buyer and seller gain from the transaction, creating a system where self-interest produces cooperation rather than conflict. For Smith, markets serve as a technology in the sense that they coordinate countless individual decisions into larger, efficient social order without central control. The concept of the individual hand, or invisible hand, captures this dynamic. Smith believed that individuals, by competing and innovating, drive economic growth, allocate resources efficiently, and satisfy human wants more effectively than deliberate planning could. Ideally, markets should generate wealth, improve productivity, and raise the standard of living across society. Smith recognized, however, that markets work best under conditions of competition and fairness, meaning that monopolies, exploitation, or corruption undermine their harmonizing potential. In this view, a properly functioning market naturally integrates individual pursuits into collective prosperity. Question 2. According to Weber, what are three ideal types of legitimate authority? What is the basis of obedience to authority with each type? And what would result in a crisis of legitimate authority with each type? Max Weber identifies three ideal types of legitimate authority: traditional, charismatic, and rational legal. Traditional authority is grounded in long-standing customs, practices, and beliefs. People obey because it's always been that way. As in monarchies or hereditary rulers, charismatic authority is based on devotion to the extraordinary personal qualities of a leader, such as revolutionary figures or prophets, where obedience stems from beliefs in the leader's vision. Rational legal authority, by contrast, rests on impersonal rules of established laws, which people obeying office holders because they represent the legitimacy of the legal system rather than its personal traits. Each type of authority faces the possibility of crisis when its foundation of legitimacy erodes. Traditional authority falters when traditions are questioned or disrupted by modernization. Charismatic authority becomes unstable if the leader loses credibility, fails to deliver, or passes away without institutionalizing succession. Rational legal authority enters crisis when laws are seen as unjust, corrupt, or disconnected from the public's sense of fairness. In all three cases, when legitimacy weakens, social order is threatened, and authority must either be reestablished or transformed into another type. Question 3. What are the two collective actors that Marx and Engels believe are locked in a fundamentally antagonistic social relationship? What would need to happen, according to Marx and Engels, for this antagonism to be resolved? And why do Marx and Engels think it is so different? Marx and Engels identify the bourgeoisie, owners of the means of production, and the proletariat, workers who sell their labor, power, as the two main classes in conflict. The bourgeoisie accumulates wealth by exploiting the labor of the proletariat, paying them less than the value of what they produce. This antagonism is fundamental because the interests of the two groups are irreconcilable. The bourgeoisie seeks profit and domination, while the proletariat seeks fair compensation and freedom from exploitation. For Marx and Engels, class struggle drives history and is key to understanding social change. Resolution, in their view, requires the proletariat to become class conscious and overthrow the bourgeoisie, abolishing private ownership of the means of production. Only through socialist revolution can exploitation end, leading to a classless society. However, Marx and Engels believed this was difficult because ideology, culture, and political institution often obscure workers' awareness of exploitation. The bourgeoisie maintains power not only through economic dominance, but also through control of education, religion, and government, which makes it challenging for workers to recognize their shared interests and organize effectively. Question 4. In the agrarian origins of capitalism, Mixon's Wood notes several unique historical circumstances that gave rise to capitalism in Britain. What were these unique circumstances that were not present in other places at that point in time? What are the details important for explaining the origins of capitalism? Ellen Mixon's Wood emphasizes that capitalism emerged in Britain under very specific historical conditions. Unlike much of Europe, Britain developed an agrarian economy where landlords had strong control over tenants and pursued profits through productivity rather than direct coercion. Enclosures and markets rents compelled farmers to compete, innovate, and increase efficiency to survive. This competitive pressure created the foundation for capitalist relations of production, where profit maximization and productivity became central. In contrast, in places like France, peasants retained stronger customary rights that limited capitalist transformation. These details are important because they challenge the notion that capitalism emerged naturally or inevitably across Europe. Instead, Wood argued that it arose from uniquely property relations and social structures specific to Britain. The shift to capitalist agriculture created dynamics of competition, commodification, and profit seeking that later spread to industrial production. Understanding these unique origins helps explain why capitalism developed unevenly and why political economic institutions matter in shaping long-term historical outcomes.